All right, welcome back to the Show of Requirement Harry Potter podcast, presented by the Gazebo Effect Network, produced by Gonzalez Productions, available everywhere. Even Cranjus making an appearance in Cole's room. I'm your host, Spencer Price. I'm joined by my friends David Gonzalez, Cole Harris, and then Abby will hopefully be joining us hopping on in a couple minutes. Tonight, we are continuing our rewatch series of Harry Potter with the Goblet of Fire, aka the Harry Potter fever dream film, and quite possibly the most memed Harry Potter film.
Yeah,
of
probably
the entire series.
Yeah.
Yes.
At least of the most recent times. So, David and Cole, what are your overall thoughts on this film? Either on the rewatch or just in general, what do you got?
I like this movie. It's probably one that I've seen the most, just because this is the one that's probably shown the most on TV and whatever. And it's not my favorite one, but it's not horrible either. It's in the middle ground. But like you guys said, it's very memeable, which does kick it up a few notches for me, so to speak.
Yeah, I would probably say this is like at the bottom two for me. I call me a purist if you want.
You're a purist.
I just don't like how I don't like how everyone has mullets in this one. I think the first task is better in the book, which is already well established on our show. And
no, you're the only one that holds that opinion on this show.
So many people agree with me. It's hilarious how much agree with me. It makes me some sort of like a Greek god in the wizarding world of that opinion. But which now that we have more people on it, I think I can put a poll on YouTube and have people vote on this, and we can see how it does.
Okay.
But yeah, I don't really like how and it's not necessarily the movie's fault. I guess I should say that. I think because there was so much stuff that was left out of it, and some things that were changed, and some things that were just rushed. But
you're saying it's like the writing? You think it's the writing's fault?
Yeah, it's the writing's fault. I don't think it's. I don't think it has anything to do with like with the actors or the music. I guess I should say that off the forefront, and we'll probably get into it. The score is amazing for this.
Yes.
Score is amazing in this one, but just in terms of like the pace and the flow, it's probably one of my least favorite ones, and just things that were left out. I'm not a fan of it. I do think that it's still good, but it is one of my least favorite ones.
Yeah, I think when I was rewatching this one, I had a lot of the same thoughts. Like I was like, what? Where did this go wrong? The mullets for sure. But I'm like, the director and his touches are apparent. The score is great. But I think it is the writing. I wonder if it is the writing. It kind of feels like, I don't want to say they got lazy, but like there's a slight dip in what's the word? Truthfulness, loyalty to the source material. Faithfulness was the word I'm looking for. Yeah, there's a slight dip in faithfulness that continues into Order of the Phoenix, but it's different. I think Order of the Phoenix might have hit the tone of the book a little better. Not that it's the writing, it's still not very faithful, but I think it hits the right tone. And maybe that's just David Yates understanding the source material a little better. I feel like Mike Newell just jumped in and did his thing, and it's fun. So it's a fun movie. It's not one that I rewatch very often.
Mm-hmm.
And Goblet of Fire ranks a lot higher in my books than the movie does in the movie rankings. Like I could say it right now. It's a thing for the end of this episode, but it's definitely number 4. Like pun unintended, because it is number 4, but it's also number 4 in bottom to top of rankings.
Yeah.
And it might stay there. I don't know. So some characters that make first appearances. Amos and Cedric Diggory make first appearances. Technically, Cedric's second appearance. His first appearance was played by another actor in Prisoner of Azkaban with no speaking lines. So do we even count that? Sure.
Yeah.
But this is this is one of the first of many times that they had some glorified extra playing a character, and then they were like, oh wait, picks up Goblet of Fire. Oh wait, Cedric's an important character.
Mm-hmm.
What's the guy that hasn't done Twilight doing? What's the guy that's gonna do Twilight in a couple of years? What's he doing? I think Robert Pattinson's good.
Yeah.
I didn't have any notes on that. I mean, no positives or negatives. What cracks me up is I watched an interview the other day with Rob about this movie, and he's talking about all these movies, but he was saying that he had barely started acting when he did this movie, and so he had like no idea what was going on. And I think I think it's just the movie doesn't really give him the chance to, like, he's kind of aloof, but for playing a character who's so smart and things, Robert Pattinson's kind of just a pretty face.
Yeah.
But it works.
Yeah.
They still pulled it off.
I think that's probably one of the things that I appreciated. The one thing is not necessarily with him, but with Amos. Like, because Amos in the books was a jerk and it annoyed the crap out of me. And so the fact that he was so nice to Harry, even like it's a brief exchange. It's just, I was just like, I'm with that. I like that a lot. That was
there's some creative touches
some
and
good
stuff that I think that was helpful. I think they looked at the book and they're like, yeesh.
Mm-hmm.
But most of his dislikable scenes were towards Winky, which was one of the many characters that was cut from the film. I believe there's a slight tonal shift from Prisoner of Azkaban. This one still has spooky tone, but it also has like it kind of roller coasters like the book to happier moments. So like the beginning has that very dark scene and they portray that very well at the Riddle House, but then it goes straight into the World Cup and huzzah, dum, 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 dum. And I think that might just be Patrick Doyle's skill in the composer chair as well.
Yeah.
Things that you enjoyed? Any notes that you guys had?
This picture, I'll send it to you now. I thought I'd send it to you guys on air while we're discussing it.
Okay.
I'll see if I can put it up quickly while you're walking through this.
An unfortunate pause.
It's okay. I can edit it.
No, what I took a picture of.
Ooh, nice. Very good.
Love it.
I really appreciate that. It's good stuff.
But yeah, no, the visual. I thought the CGI was really good on this.
Oh yeah, better stuff than we see in some movies today.
Definitely, Nagini for sure, and
the dragon,
the dragons. Yes, the dragons.
We only really see the one, but we see miniatures of all four. We see
shadows of the rest of them.
I made notes throughout as I have been, so I can read some of them. The Warner Bros. Logo is looking worse for wear.
Yeah.
This is the beginning of the Warner Bros. Logo's decline, which cracks me up. It's Deathly Hallows Part 2. I can best describe as Rusty Gate. I think Frank Bryce is underrated but perfect casting. He looks exactly like I thought Frank Bryce would look
Yes.
when I read the book, and I hadn't seen the movie yet. How Dumbledore hasn't had a spy on the Riddle Mansion for all 14 years since he disappeared is beyond me. That feels like a written oversight, an oversight in the writing, in the book. I don't know if we discussed that, but and then Frank Bryce, the tea kettle. So Harry Potter wakes up to the tea kettle. Remember that? But I noticed that Frank put out the tea kettle. He put out the fire, the tea, before he went up to the house. So he put out the tea kettle. What's going on? After the World Cup, they're all acting really strange in the tent, like not drunk, but they appear to be acting drunk. He's not just an athlete; he's an artist. I'm like, Mike, what's going on, bud? To give these minors a little something. It was weird. It was really weird.
Speaking of minors, this is what Cole had sent us right here.
Oh, gosh, that hair was not doing Dan any favors.
No. Was not.
And there was 4 mullets, I believe. Neville. I think Neville tried, but too late in the game.
Yeah.
I think Fred and George works for some reason.
Yeah, they can kind of pull. Ron was awful.
Really?
I thought
like Ron's was the best of the 4.
No. I think it was the twins
Dan's
for sure.
The worst.
Dan's was the worst, and then Ron's was bad.
I mean, there's the meme.
It looked like
of,
a wig to me.
The meme of the big bird instead of his hair.
Yeah.
That's, again, it's the most memed Harry Potter film for sure. The Durmstrang and Beauxbaton entrances are really strange, and not the entrances to not the carriage and the boat. Those are fun. Very great CGI.
Like going into
the Great Hall.
Yeah.
I was like, why did they make them all boys and all girls? Like, the writing is, I think it is the writing. I'm like, that doesn't make any logistical sense.
No, it doesn't.
That's not what do the French boys do?
What French boys?
It's only witches and
There's no such thing as French boys.
There's no French wizards.
Yeah.
Nicolas Flamel. He's secretly British. Speaking of those two schools, how do you guys think in general they were portrayed, either in that scene or in the whole film? And that extends to their headmaster and headmistress. And Crumb and Fleur for that matter.
I think that for Durmstrang, they fit the kind of silent, like, mean mug that you got from the book, and I thought Karkaroff was also casted very, very well.
Yes.
I think Beauxbaton was a miss, but I think it like there wasn't that sense, like it felt like
they
like
felt
everyone
very
was
human.
only everyone was very was like second fiddle to Fleur, which I get she's very, very beautiful, but like there's supposed to be a sense of just like
they didn't really allude to that at all.
Yeah, and I think that's probably why. Like there was nothing really. They just felt like they were there. Like they were just there. To me.
I think they're kind of even in my mind. Like, I don't think the actor that played Crumb really was doing.
Yeah,
and maybe that's the writing.
I agree with that.
I just think he wasn't the kind of hunched over, aloof brooding kind of character that he was supposed to be. He was just kind of a cool guy. And I think he looked better with the long hair in that deleted scene from Deathly Hallows. I think the buzz cut weirded me out for some reason. I think Karkaroff was perfect. And then Madame Maxine was great.
Mm-hmm.
But she was over the top, as many people are in this movie. And then Fleur, yeah, she just like, I think I'm glad that they didn't include the Vila subplot, whatever you want to call it. I'm glad that was
that's
left.
what I was getting at, was that since they didn't include that, it just kind of made them, oh, these are just regular wizards, not, oh, this is something a little bit extra than just a wizard or witch or whatever.
Yeah, there's no judgment against Fleur, but the movie didn't do anything to really set her apart.
Right.
And so it made them feel a little bit underhanded. Even Crumb got his 4 seconds of Quidditch novelty in the film. But yeah, I think Karkaroff was the best of all of them. And the ship. What did we think? So David has made his stance clear, his incorrect stance clear on the first task.
I'm just telling you what the movie is.
The movie's still better, even with Harry's hair. I'm sure it doesn't make sense, and I know it's not faithful, but I think it's better. It's more entertaining.
So the two reasons you gave of why it's not better, you're using.
Wait, it is better.
I listen. I will do it one more time. This is why it's not better, is because the lasting memory that everybody remembers is Harry on the broomstick looking like he's doing something else that's not appropriate and going.
That's not what I remember.
Right, can't do it.
That's incorrect.
Can't do it.
I remember the dragon and all the roofs of Hogwarts and all those other things. I remember the dragon on top of Gryffindor Tower going, and 12-year-old Spencer thinking that is the coolest thing I've ever seen.
You're still viewing it as a 12-year-old, Spencer. You're still viewing it as a 12-year-old.
I don't have a problem. I'm unashamed of that. I am not 27.
Are you not older than me?
I am older than you, but I am not 27 yet.
Okay.
Called out. Anyway, Abby, just to catch you up, Abby's here.
Hi,
Abby. David is making his incorrect claim that the book First Task is better than the movie.
Ooh,
Abby's making a face.
I don't know. To be fair, it's been a while since I've read The Goblet of Fire.
It hasn't been that long. We just read
It's been long enough.
It's been a while.
It's been long enough.
It's been quite a bit.
I do enjoy watching the First Task a lot. I just think that you can't... Wait, which one did David say was better? The book is better than the movie?
I said the book was better than the movie.
It's just hard to capture dragons in, like, flight.
And enclosed.
And, like, an action sequence. Sometimes through book. Whereas I feel like this magical sequence fit better. Maybe visually.
Yeah.
But I don't think it was still written well. But
yeah, because my thing with that scene has nothing to do with the dragons itself. I think obviously the dragons and the special effects, all of that is amazing, A1, tier 1 awesomeness. It is the cringy lines and actions of Hermione and Harry that just completely take me out of the scene and ruins it.
Oh, so like the stuff before the task happens.
So no, I'm saying like
it cuts to Hermione.
I'm talking about like Hermione,
times.
like clapping, like overly dramatic, like just over the top, and then Harry on the broomstick flying back towards the cup, just like it's not good. It's cringy. It's cringy. Just ruined.
I will say, and this is not
I've never had a problem with it.
this is not a defense of the film, but everything in this movie is over dramatic.
Yes.
And a
That's
little
probably-
I
cringy.
realized watching this.
Probably that's why it's a bottom 2 film for me.
Oof.
Yeah, I agree. I think the Hermione stuff's fine. I think this is a little bit Harry Miney fodder.
That's probably why I also don't like it.
It gives some ammo to that, which I don't like.
Yes.
Ginny does get one funny scene though on the way down to the lake. She's like, "You guys are so mean," and then just
Yeah.
she gets a couple lines, not just that one. But I think the first task is better, which is okay that David does not hold that opinion. But in one final thought on it regarding to the book first task, as Deadpool would say, it's certainly not very cinematic. And so I'm glad they made those changes. And we got a little of both, you know? He fights the dragon on the ground, and then they fights the dragon in the air. And then he does this weird thing, pull him back in. It's on the firebolt's on fire. Give him a break. He's trying to put out the broom.
It made Harry weak.
He flies back in. Yeah, he is weak in this movie.
No, but the book makes him so like it's like, oh wow, he's an actual contender.
So in my eyes, I think
Open a
the first,
contender.
and I don't remember what we said when we were talking about the book, and I think we held this opinion. I think the first task and the second task are better in the film. Second task, at least we can maybe agree on.
Yeah.
But I think the third task, the book wins out.
Yes.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But also the second task has the same problem as the book, where the people aren't going to be able to see anything. Like that's my Abby. My opening line for the episode was the most memed Harry Potter film.
Fair.
And my favorite meme, I think, of the whole Goblet of Fire, and this is book and movie kind of, it's POV watching the second task, and it's just looking at a still lake, just looking at water. Accurate, but gosh, the CGI and all of those scenes was insane
Hmm.
on the underwater stuff. The mermaids could have been a little better. They're a little much.
Yeah.
But
I didn't like
everything's
the
a little
mermaid.
much in this film. But yeah, the third task is just there's really nothing in the maze. It's just a
No.
maze. And so that eats you. So I think it would be fun in the reboot if they did kind of a mix. So the third task had like your obstacles, the exact same obstacles or similar stuff. But then also the maze was trying to eat you, or trying to get you. Maybe a little of both.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just crazed in thinking that the tasks are going to be like whole TV episodes. Like they're probably going to dedicate an entire episode to the second task and the third task and stuff like that. My next note is a secret. It might be considered secretly a dig on J.K. Rowling.
Is it a secret if you say it out loud?
It's not a secret anymore.
Yeah.
The goblet really only picks the most obvious choices available. If Harry had actually entered himself and it was allowed, it would have picked Harry Potter instantly over Cedric Diggory.
That's so true. I'm
It picks-
with you 100%.
Like, oh look, Crumb, he's this big Quidditch player. Oh, he happens to go to Durmstrang. He puts it's like, why did anyone even enter? It was gonna pick Crumb and it was gonna pick Fleur.
Yeah.
And then Cedric, of course, too.
Yeah.
I feel like Cedric was the obvious Hogwarts champion choice too.
Do you think that like
It like the goblet is a popularity contest.
it is, or it like can know, hey, what's going to give us the best competition? Like it's an all-knowing. It has
don't
their
really get into
transcripts.
the-
It has their SAT scores. It has all of that, and they project like this is
It's a
going to
college
be.
acceptance board.
Yeah, yeah.
I think what really happened was when they made this goblet in like 800 AD or whatever, they went, we're going to make this thing and we're going to pretend that it's this all knowing goblet of fire, this huge
Mhm.
thing. But secretly, it just feeds off of the minds of the people and picks the three most popular people.
Yeah.
Because Crumb doesn't know anything.
Mm-mm.
That's not a factor. They would have picked a smarter Durmstrang student if that was the case.
Yeah.
I just wrote a note that says every scene is over the top. Cue Mike Newell. A lot of fun behind the scenes stuff. If listeners, you haven't watched behind the scenes, Mike Newell's a hoot and a half. It adds a lot to the film. I think in some ways the actors had more fun making it than we had fun watching it.
It's probably true.
But it's okay. I laughed at this joke every single time it happened. This one, every task they had Filch on the cannon, and they said, "Okay, Mr. Diggory, at the sound of the cannon," and Dumbledore just goes, "Go."
Yeah, just put the hands up.
And that just made me laugh out loud every single time, especially in the tent though, when Filch is like way up high and he like almost falls out. Really dramatic stuff.
Mm-hmm.
2 more notes. Love that the trio are just randomly walking through the Forbidden Forest. No context. Chatting with Hagrid.
Mm-hmm.
They couldn't be. Would have killed them to not just do the scene that was in the book where the champions look at the maze and that's it. Ridiculous. And then I could have put notes about the third task. I was kind of swept up in it at that point. The ending scene, like the very ending scene, is super awkward.
Yes.
And I think I just overlooked it every time. I feel like they were reaching the point of like, well, we surely can't do what the book says at this point. So we'll just have the ship shoot off cannons. Yeah, it sounds good. The Bopaddin girls, let's have all the students clap at them as they walk out. That sounds good. And then we'll have some really strange interactions with Hermione and Harry and Ron. Oh, everything's going to be different now, isn't it? And then Harry just goes, yes. And I'm like, we saw such great acting in Prisoner of Azkaban that I'm like, this is a dip, but I don't know why. The writing. I think it is the writing.
Yeah. Yeah. But, I mean, because like how else is Daniel Radcliffe supposed to say that line of just yes?
Yes.
Like how else is like
so
how else is he supposed to how is he supposed to and even like the stuff with like Victor and Hermione, there's just also, I will say this, there's no chemistry between them at all. And so
there's no chemistry at all in this film. I think
no
between other than
of the new with Fleur and Crumb, there was no chemistry with anybody else.
There really wasn't chemistry between the characters we do know, though. Other than
like Hermione, like Emma Watson and
Fred and George
were phenomenal.
Yeah, I think they still had but they had inconsistent moments. Like they had some moments that weren't good chemistry too. The trio.
Yeah, during the fight stuff, during like when Harry and Ron were like fighting, and
that was all right. But like Fred and George had good chemistry, and then Snape and McGonagall had a couple scenes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Any other things that we enjoyed?
I did enjoy that scene with Snape and McGonagall. That really stood out to me this time.
It's one of my favorites too.
With in Dumbledore's office, that one.
With the pensieve?
Yes. That's
where they're saying that
okay.
it's not in the book,
it's not.
but I think
Yeah.
it's pretty good.
I don't know what else has already been addressed because
Not a lot.
Issues.
Just go
with
for it.
Technology. I feel like David Tennant did a great job in his scenes. I always forget who plays Moody, but he does a great job in his scenes.
Brendan Gleeson.
Yes.
I also am just a fan of the sequence in the cemetery when you see Voldemort again. I don't think
I'm not a fan of that scene in general.
I don't think I had really any issues with that.
Yeah, Mad-Eye Moody was what I was going to bring up. Brendan Gleeson does a really great job of playing Barty Crouch Jr. playing Mad-Eye Moody. And when I was watching this, I realized that even though we only get little glimpses of Mad-Eye Moody in the rest of the movie series, the Mad-Eye that we see in Order of the Phoenix and Deathly Hallows is different than the one we see in this film. Just a little bit. He's more balanced, more tempered down. Versus and his voice is a little different too.
Right.
But it's always Brendan Gleeson.
Yep.
Yeah.
I really love the scene where Barty playing Moody is teaching them about the unforgivable curses. It's one of the most iconic scenes in the book, and I think they do a pretty serviceable job. And that's really comes down to Brendan Gleeson and his acting style. I love the I don't know the word for it, but it's like they made it more mechanical in how they designed like his eye and his boot and all that stuff.
Yes.
What's the word called?
Steampunk.
Steampunk.
Yeah.
Yes, they made him really steampunk, and I freaking digged it. And I don't want the reboot to do anything different. I dug it. I don't want the reboot to go back. I don't want a weird wood peg leg, and he was like in the book. He's kind of like an old bird. And Brendan Gleeson just brought a performance to it. His son is great too, but unfortunately not in the movie series enough.
Right.
Yeah.
But he does other great things.
I do want to give them credit for some of the things they did take out that I think really I didn't think they were necessary in the book. So I think the whole Ludo Bagman thing, I'm okay with him not being in this movie. Because it was just like an extra storyline that just really didn't add anything to the overall story, in my opinion.
I could have let go of his storyline, but I still wanted him as a character.
I agree with that. It's just his storyline that I'm glad that they didn't find some way to keep it in there, because I don't think it fit at all. But yeah, I would have loved to see Ludo in this one for sure.
What about Spew?
Pass.
You know,
the House Elf Liberation Front.
The problem
that was all of Ron's humor in this one.
True.
Yeah.
So many of Ron's jokes were about Spew.
Yeah, Ron is kind of like an afterthought in this movie too. And also, if for Spew to be in this, it would also have to be in all of the other movies too, for it not to just seem like
yeah,
one-off.
but the books kind of forget about it too.
A little bit
after Order, but fair enough. But Winky, I think, and the Barty Crouch Jr. thing kind of falls short for me because it's missing all of those pieces.
Yeah,
and they didn't put it in the minister's box at the World Cup, and Barty Crouch Jr. secretly being there. The World Cup final not being on screen and portrayed in its entirety is a disservice too.
Yeah, but it was already a 2 hour and 38-minute long movie.
I could have gone 4. I could have gone for 4.
Which is that's another problem with this one and the next one, is they really couldn't figure it out. And for Half-Blood Prince, it works because the book is smaller, shorter, and then Deathly Hallows did it a part 1, part 2. But the ones that really needed the part 1, part 2 was Goblet of Fire.
That's what I was about to say. I was like, do you think that this would have been better if they would have really? Because wasn't there a conversation that they had that they were going that they wanted to do a part 1 and 2, or somebody wanted to do it?
I would argue that no, because I don't think it's epic enough. Where would you cut it off? You know what I mean?
That's a good question. Let me think about it.
I think
there's not really a good place to cut it off,
which is what my argument would be. I think it just doesn't split into a part 1, part 2 very well.
When's the Yule Ball happen? Is it before the second task, or?
Yes, it's before the second task. So you're gonna have a whole movie where the only action sequence is the first task.
No, if you put the World Cup in it.
Fair enough.
And also the raid.
I was gonna say, I feel like the end of the first task.
It would just fundamentally change this whole movie in such a potentially positive way that I can't even imagine what it would be like.
So the scene that I'm thinking of where they could end it is the conversation between Karkaroff and Snape. And like that could be an interesting cutoff. I don't think it should be when Neville comes in. Like after being out with Ginny all night, he says, "Me," and he's like twirling off, and it's just like
the after credits.
Everybody's drunk in this movie. I swear.
But I don't know.
Yeah, because then you could add all the serious scenes in too.
Yes.
Buckbeak.
Yes.
I see it, but I don't know. I don't know if it would have worked. I don't know if there was enough strength. I guess, but this movie was
different
like
David on the director's chair would have worked.
This movie was the highest grossing movie of 2005 or whenever it came out. So
yeah,
it was 05.
It definitely had the potential.
What else was going on in 2005? But my favorite movie came out in 2005, so never.
There were lots of good movies.
What was it?
That's
Revenge
true.
of the Sith?
No, it's
that also came out.
It's the Keira Knightley Pride and Prejudice, but it's so good.
And zombies. Just kidding.
Nope.
Batman Begins came out in 2005. I mean, nobody watched it, but I loved it.
Yeah,
it's a good one.
The Yule Ball design was fantastic.
Beautiful.
The dancing scene was fun before that. But as with everything else in this film, the Yule Ball was about 4 seconds long, which is fine for certain viewers, I'm sure. Moving forward, because I think we've acknowledged a lot of the things were absent from this film. Is there anything else we didn't like from this film that we want to acknowledge?
I feel like I've bragged on this movie long enough.
I know. Okay. What percentage will we give this film on its faithfulness to the book?
7%.
7. Does someone have what we gave the other ones?
I think I had it written down somewhere.
I have at least that I gave the Sorcerer's Stone 84%. Chamber of Secrets I gave 90%, and then Prisoner of Azkaban I gave 81%, and then I put parenthesis thanks Cole. I don't remember the context, but
I don't remember the context of that one either.
I'm gonna have to go back and listen to it.
Yeah, I probably need to go back and listen to them just to make sure. And whenever we do the next one, I'll amend it if I have to.
70?
I don't know. I was gonna go 65.
All the main elephants. I'm thinking 70 teacher mode. It's a passing grade. It's got all of the bones. It doesn't have all of the other stuff to it that I would like. But it's
But I don't know that
passable.
any of the books are underpassable.
Exactly.
So, because they're all great. So, I mean, I'd be down to rank it at a 70. Yeah, sorry. Rank it at a
Not higher
70.
than 70.
Is there anything that's lower than Goblet of Fire, movie-wise, that we need to prep for? Advance.
I think Order of the Phoenix is also
That's
in the
the
70s
one.
for me. Maybe that one might be closer to an 80, but if Sorcerer's Stone got an 84, I am not prepared to give this higher than a 70.
Mm.
Oh, I wouldn't go higher than a 70.
In fact, I think actually I'm starting to think 65. It's just missing a lot of what made the book what it is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The secret mystery plot is really missing.
Yeah. I'm going to go 60 because the things that I think they changed, I wasn't a fan of, like the first task. So it's going to get points deducted for that.
My gut said 65. I'm going to stick at 65.
I think I'm going to give 60. I would think 60, but then I think they made a couple of changes that I appreciated, even though they were changes. So I'm going to give
Busk. I'm just kidding.
Let's have other first task.
It's on brand for us, though. It's on brand for us.
Yes, it
Spencer, like that old married couple.
Yep. I'll throw in a 62.
Cole does this every time, and then we.
I think that's probably why you said. I think that's probably the context of the 81.
Because he goes right to
I said 82,
middle, so then we
and
have
someone
to find
said
a
80.
median.
Yeah.
63.
Sure.
Got two 65s.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's
two 65s, a 60, and a 62.
Yeah.
An average of 63.
Yeah.
Don't math me on that, by the way. That might not be the average.
No. Now I got to see what the average is.
Best acting performance in this film. This is an interesting one. At least for Goblet of Fire. I'm gonna go with Brendan Gleeson.
I'm gonna say Carcroft because man, he just nailed it. He nailed it. He did great.
He ate.
But so did Brendan Gleeson.
I think both of those are like the only truly faithful performances. Other than Snape,
honestly,
I guess.
I was trying to think of anybody else. I don't know if I can think of anybody else.
You know,
like no one
I'll go with David Tennant. I was going to say David Tennant, but he did have little bits. I really think David Tennant did a great job of with the little
acting,
time that he had.
Yes.
With the small amount of scenes that he was given, he made the most of that opportunity.
I have not seen David Tennant do badly in anything. He's
great
at everything he does.
Yeah.
Acting wise.
I'm still sticking with Brendan Gleeson. He's great. He plays
also,
Barty
Spencer,
Crouch.
you were right on. The average was 63.
Nice.
Favorite scene? The first task.
Sorry,
it's low hanging fruit.
If you're listening to this, I rolled my eyes so big that you probably heard it. I would say the Yule Ball, but specifically, this is just me personally. The Yule Ball, specifically when Dumbledore and McGonagall started dancing together, like they joined the fray. That's just warms my heart, especially since I watched it after she passed away.
They both passed, yeah.
After they both passed away, and watching that scene again, just
it warms the heart.
I'll let Abby and Cole go first because I have two honorary mentions, and I want to see if either of them mention one of those.
I like the graveyard scene. That's one of my favorite scenes.
Which one?
Oh, the graveyard. When Voldemort comes back.
Yeah, when Voldemort comes back.
Yeah,
like Harry and Voldemort.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Yeah.
I was gonna agree with Cole. I thought that was pretty cool.
My honorable mentions then are McGonagall teaching the Gryffindors how to dance, and
so good.
We didn't talk about that. That's a good one.
Gryffindor is commanded
to
respect my waist. But like she's talking about how Godric has Gryffindor has like commanded the respect of wizards for centuries, and I'm not about to let that stop now.
Yeah.
And it just kind of, it's great. It's really good. Babbling, bumbling, band of baboons.
And then you get George and Fred going, babbling, bumbling, band of baboons, babbling, bumbling, band of baboons.
My other honorable mention is Dumbledore, The Funeral of Cedric Diggory.
Yeah.
That's Michael Gambon, other than Dancing with McGonagall.
Yes.
Really, Michael Gambon's only in character scene in this entire film. He really goes off kilter almost the rest of the film. He's kind of,
that's
he's
the
really
scene I
weirds me
should
out.
have said, is when he asked if Harry put his name in the Goblet of Fire.
Again, memes. Yeah, he's just really not. This is not his movie. He's just a little weird in
Dang,
this
we
one.
made it 46 minutes without mentioning it.
Fair enough.
His movie's coming. His movie's coming. Not in the next one, but the one after.
Half-Blood for sure. I'm gonna cry like a baby. I will weep. Okay. But my favorite scene is going to be Brendan Gleeson as Barty Crouch Jr. as Mad-Eye Moody, talking about the unforgivable curses.
Yeah.
Just that whole first lesson really brought that scene to life in a really great way. Favorite character? I'm kicking a dead horse here, but I'm going to say Mad-Eye Moody again.
Yeah.
Barty Crouch Sr. Anybody with me?
Victor Crumb. Just kidding. I'm kidding.
Oh, gosh.
Justice for Cedric. My heart wants to say Cedric.
I mean, I know. I was going to say my heart wants to say Cedric, too.
I think he did a good job.
Yeah.
Not Amos. That's my son. My boy.
I'm gonna go with Voldemort.
He did good.
It's his return.
It was a very dramatic return. I like it.
It was.
I like where he's rubbing his face. And
Yeah.
Me when I wake up in the mornings.
More memes.
Yeah.
So the weird finger thing that he does. I don't know.
They need to play that with that song that's like, wake in the morning.
This might be a weird thing, and we're not sponsored by them, but every time like it shows the side and shows Voldemort's like jawline because it's like super sharp, I always think of Verizon razor blade phones, like the razor phone. I don't know why. That's just one of my favorite
I don't know what to
things
say
too.
about that.
So I said Mad-Eye Moody. David said Voldemort. Abby and Cole.
I'm just gonna say Cedric because I don't know.
Hey, yes, no, don't
But
apologize.
Cedric.
Don't.
Please do. Yeah.
Winky, the brief moment we see of her.
Which is never.
Quidditch.
In our dreams.
No, she's at the Quidditch World Cup. You blink it.
She's under the invisibility cloak. Yeah, we don't see her.
Sure.
But we see her, but we don't see her.
Oh Lord.
Wait, no, but did you really see her?
Crumb as the man shark.
Okay.
No.
I was the man shark. That was creepy.
Good stuff.
Solid action.
So ranking updates. As I already said at the beginning of the episode, I'm at Goblet of Fire at the bottom. And I think it's number 1 is Prisoner of Azkaban. Number 2 is Chamber of Secrets, Sorcerer's Stone, Goblet of Fire. But like, there's a pretty large, sizable gap between Sorcerer's Stone and Goblet of Fire.
Sure.
I'll say that mine's the same as yours, but I will flip Goblet of Fire and Sorcerer's Stone. I'll watch Goblet of Fire more often than I'd watch Sorcerer's Stone.
I'm a bit offended. I don't know why, but I'm a bit offended.
Abby's a big
say that
Sorcerer's
again,
Stone
Cole?
fan.
Say that again.
I am.
I'll watch Goblet of Fire, but more often than I'll watch Sorcerer's Stone.
Hey, the Goblet of Fire fan listener out there is jumping for joy right now. Someone's got to be in their camp.
Bunty fans, I would think.
They're all jumping around with a blanket and around like a cape and going, Cole's not just an athlete, just a podcaster. He's an artist.
He's an artist. I think you're in love with him.
Oh, Lord.
Victor, I love you.
Victor, I do. When we're apart, my heart.
Yeah, so I'd say my ranking is Prisoner, Chamber, Sorcerer, and then Goblet of Fire.
David and I agree on something.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's never going to happen again.
Moment.
Wow.
Kodak moment.
Guys, it's so hard. I don't know which one's in last place. Is it Goblet of Fire or Chamber of Secrets? I don't know.
Listen,
I watched them both
you can't
infrequently.
You cannot put the movie with the hot Tom Riddle last.
You can't put the movie with hot Cedric last.
I feel like there's less dead time in my brain. I feel like there are scenes in Chamber that I want to skip past because I just don't enjoy watching.
See, that's the problem I ran into was trying to watch this at a speed. I couldn't skip any of these scenes. They're all important.
And this one's faster paced, and it keeps me more invested.
Breakneck speed.
But also, it's just the writings and the dialogue just isn't as good. And you don't have Kenneth Branagh. Ugh, gosh.
So,
Abby, it's Prisoner, Sorcerer's Stone, and then.
Wow.
Dang.
Wait, so you're
gears were turning, and they just
stopped.
I feel like I'm gonna go. If I'm thinking, which ones am I gonna go back and rewatch more often, like rewatchability?
Mm-hmm.
Prisoner, Sorcerer, Goblet, Chamber. For me, I think
David and I are not having that.
Maybe it could change tomorrow. I don't know.
I don't think that's even close, but that's just me. I'm interested to see what I think of order.
Listen, and this is coming from somebody who doesn't like Lockhart. Like Kenneth Branagh is, man. He low key character.
But then there's a really good scene. Guys, I don't know.
That's also where we get to see Snape and McGonagall have like a besties moment is in Chamber as well.
They have a besties moment in this one too.
Yeah, but not like.
But bait.
But.
Okay. We're gonna go. Prisoner, Sorcerer's Stone, Chamber of Secrets, Goblet of Fire.
Okay, that's passable grade.
3 out of 4. But Cole, it's a 75.
Okay.
Cole's the outlier. Me. That's okay.
Cole is the outlier.
All
Which
right.
It should be me. I should be the outlier. I'm the only Gryffindor here.
Well, David and I will differ next week, I'm sure. Don't
I
worry.
don't think you all are gonna like where I put Goblet of Fire. Not Goblet of Fire. Order of the Phoenix.
She's gonna put it at number 1.
No.
She's gonna come and put it at number 1.
I was like, I ain't putting it at number 1.
I'm not putting it at 1 either.
No, but I'm pretty sure it may come in number 3. We'll see. Tune in next time.
Boy, I'm not ready for the Umbridge music. It's the only thing that bothers me more than the Hogwarts March.
No,
it's actually going to be the outro for this one too. So
I truly do agree with that, though. I think I would put Order of the Phoenix above Goblet and Chamber. So it's going to sit in number 3.
Last thoughts, listeners. Again, look at the behind the scenes. They're a hoot.
Mm-hmm.
Also, the deleted scenes on this are crazy. The Hogwarts song is sang by all of the student body, and it is a crime that was not put to film.
Amen.
Daniel Radcliffe in all of his mullet glory singing Hogwarts, Hoggy Woggy Wogwarts. Really good stuff. Even Michael Gambon jumping in. Good stuff. Anyway, thank you so much for listening or watching to the show. Make sure to subscribe where you need to. If you're watching on YouTube, leave a comment to tell us why Cole's right and we're all wrong. If you're on Instagram, make sure to check us out at hpotter_fanatics. If you're looking for more shows, our network has a bunch of podcasts. Phantom Done Right, Star Wars Historians, Should Have Been Gale, a Hunger Games podcast. David's favorite preface. No, it's great. It's awesome. Next time on the Harry Potter podcast show requirement, we'll be doing Order of the Phoenix. I don't know who's hosting us in that one. David, are you going to take us through that tumultuous time?
I think Abby should, because apparently she has it in her top 3.
The problem that I foresee, and we can talk about logistics later, is I don't think I can record next week.
Oh, okay. We'll talk about logistics.
We'll talk about it later.
Yeah.
But I'm willing. I am willing.
Meaning right after this.
We'll do it right after this, or stop recording this one and start recording Order of the Phoenix.
So record the next one.
But yeah, Order of the Phoenix is coming next on the podcast. Until then, mischief managed.